It has been told that Tente once destroyed the world and then created 13 new kingdoms. In the center of the world was a kingdom which had the Kokai and Mount Ho, and 12 rulers were placed in the 12 remaining kingdoms. Tente granted each ruler a holy creature of justice and humanity called a Kirin. The Kirin is there to make sure that the ruler governs the kingdom properly. Thus, in this world, there are 12 kingdoms, 12 rulers, and 12 Kirin. The kingdom of En is a prosperous kingdom which has been governed in peace for 500 years. The king and the Kirin, that would be me, were both born as Taika. We were supposed to be born in this world, but were blown over by a Shoku and born in Horai. Taika rulers are pretty rare. After a long time had passed, another Taika ruler came to this world. That is Queen Kei. Queen Kei once lived in Horai, which is also known as Japan, and there she was just an ordinary student. Her name is Yoko Nakajima. People now call her Sekishi. The kingdom of Kei is still infested with Yoma and in a state of disrepair. Yoko will have a difficult time reconstructing the kingdom. Right now, there is no ruler or Kirin in the kingdom of Ko. When a ruler acts against the heavens' will, such as oppressing the people or governing in his own interest, the heavens will curse the ruler. For if the ruler sins, the Kirin gets a sickness called Shitsudo, and the sickness is fatal. The ruler cannot survive long after the death of the Kirin. King Ko passed away within 2 months after Korin died. After his death, he became known as Sakuo. Kirin are born on Mount Ho, which is located in the center of the world. I heard that the new Kirin Ranka of Ko is already growing there. At the corners of the world, there are 4 kingdoms on 4 islands. The kingdom of Shun is one of the 4 islands. It is a very stable kingdom, known to produce medicinal water and rare stones. King Shun has governed the kingdom for about 40 years now. With all that is happening in Ko, I'm sure the situation in Shun will be affected somehow. The refugees must be spilling into Shun from Ko. The great southern kingdom is called So, and King So has governed it for over 600 years, much longer than the reign of King En. So will soon hold the record for having the longest reign in history. In fact, it was Sorin who found me while I was in Horai. The King of Sai is known as a very compassionate king. Cyrene and Sorin are their given names, even though they're not Taika. That's because their masters gave them the names out of their affection to their Kirin. King Ren comes from a family of farmers. Renrin possesses an imperial treasure which can bridge this world with Horai. Sometimes situations come up where we need to borrow it from her. In the west is the kingdom of Han. It is known for its wide array of beautiful crafts. They export jewelry and various tools to other kingdoms. King Han and Hanrin are a little eccentric and, well, that's all I'll say about them for now. North of Han is Kyo. The ruler of Kyo has governed for 100 years, a little shorter than Han's ruler has, but it is fairly prosperous. On the other hand, the kingdom of Ho, which is located across the Kyokai from Han, does not have a ruler or a Kirin. The provincial leaders became tired of the king's tyranny, so they finally rebelled, killing him and the Kirin. Right now, the general who defeated the king is in charge of the kingdom. The king had a daughter, but no one knows where she is now. Ryu is next to my own kingdom, En, but we don't know much about it. I don't even know what kind of condition the kingdom is in. But if the condition of Ryu declines, it will certainly affect us too. So I hope they prosper. The kingdoms that surround En, like Ryu and Kei, are not stable right now. And there is one more kingdom, which is in the worst situation of all. It is the kingdom of Tai. About 15 years ago, a ranka grew on the Shashinboku on Mount Ho. It was called Taika because it was the new Kirin ranka of the kingdom of Tai. Around the same time as the Kirin ranka grew, a Nyokai was born. A Nyokai is the Yoma that is destined to protect and serve a Kirin for the rest of her life. The Nyokai that was destined to accompany the Taika was named Sanshi. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Until one day...
Is it a shoku?
A shoku hit Mount Ho. A shoku is a natural disaster which connects this world and Horai. Kirin, rulers, and high-ranked Sennin can bring it forth with their own will, but this one occurred naturally. The Taika was blown to Horai in the shoku. When a Ranka is blown to Horai before it matures, it gets covered in a shell called Taikaku and is born in the form of a human baby in Horai. 10 long years passed since that day, and it wasn't easy to find the Taika that had been blown to Horai. It was then, while I was visiting Horai like I often did, that I sensed something strange from one particular house. Apparently, the house belonged to the family named Takasato. There was a child in the household. He lived with the family, but he didn't look like he belonged there at all. I knew right away that child was none other than Taiki, who had been missing for 10 years. I immediately contacted Mount Ho. Renrin helped open the door to Horai, and Sanshi reached out as far as she could. And then... Taiki safely returned to Mount Ho, and everything was great again. Or so everyone thought. It seemed that Taiki had somehow forgotten about Horai, but trouble soon became apparent. Usually, Kirin are born in a non-human form and develop in that form. As they grow, they learn to transform into human form and back again to the animal form. But Taiki had lived in his human form for so long that he didn't know how to metamorphose.
Well, maybe I'm just some kind of freak of nature.
Will a Kirin who cannot metamorphose be able to choose a ruler? As Taiki's caretakers, the Nyosen, began to worry about this very question, their superior, Lady Hekika Genkun, invited Keiki to Mount Ho.
This is the Keitaiho. He is known to everyone as Keiki.
So then are you... a Kirin?
He's also a Kirin who, like you, was born here on Mount Ho. He is as close to a brother as you can get. And I'm sure that you will learn a lot from him, Taiki.
Yes!
But Keiki had his own problems. He just couldn't relate to the emotions of Yoo, the previous queen of Kei.
May I ask you a question? What was it that made you cry?
Huh?
I'm interested in knowing how you're feeling about all of this.
I feel very bad for all of the Nyosen. They've been waiting for me to transform, but I can't.
Why do you concern yourself with the Nyosen so much?
They've just always been so nice to me. I suppose that's because I'm a Kirin. Now I can't do the one thing that will make them happy. The other day, I met a girl who said she had also come here from Horai.
I just want to go back to my home, back to where I belong!
I still can't stop her voice from echoing in my head. Sometimes I start remembering my home in Horai as such a warm and friendly place to be. But the Nyosens are so nice to me here every day that I shouldn't be thinking that.
It's okay to miss your home. In fact, it's quite natural.
Do you think so?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I just want to go home to see my mom.
By seeing Taiki being sincere with his feelings, Keiki learned how to be more compassionate with his master, and as a result, Yo-O fell deeply in love with Keiki. But that is a whole different story. Soon after that, the people learned about the return of Taiki and took a trip of Shozan to Mount Ho. The Kokai is infested with Yoma and is far from easy to cross. But the desire to be a ruler and save the kingdom of Tai from its troubles inspired them to take such a dangerous trip. Taiki, however, didn't see the Oki among any of them. Oki is the aura that surrounds the person whom the heavens select to be a ruler. Meanwhile, Taiki became close to Gyoso, who was the general of an army in Tai. At first, Taiki felt terrified of Gyoso, but for some reason, he just couldn't help feeling drawn to him.
My lord, are you afraid of me?
No, It's like fire. Fire provides you with such good things like warmth and light. But if it gets too strong, it can become scary. A large fire is beautiful and awesome. And it's just like that with you. I'm amazed by how powerful you are. But at the same time, I feel so intimidated by you. I'm so sorry. I really don't know how to describe it to you.
Perhaps I have asked you an inappropriate question. You have my apology.
That's okay.
My lord, you are a very good child.
No, I'm not that good.
The fact is, you are sincere and very kind. The Tai kingdom will have a great future.
Kirin used the Kokai as their playground, and starting off with the small, harmless Yoma, began to learn to train them. I heard that Keiki often took Taiki to the Kokai and taught him how to make the Yoma submit, but Taiki was unable to master any Shirei. But then...
Ri, Yo, To, Sha, Kai, Jin, Retsu, Zin, Yo! Submit to me and become my Shirei! I command you! Evil creature be mastered! May shadow and light unite! Kimi Kobuku! Onmyo Wago! Yukyunyo Ritsurio! Submit, Goran!
Taiki summoned all his will to save Gyoso and mastered a Totetsu to be his Shirei. A Totetsu isn't an ordinary Yoma. In fact, no Kirin has ever had one as a Shirei, but Taiki became the first.
Lord Yoso seemed like he would have made the perfect king. I wonder why there was no revelation. That I wouldn't know. That is something only the Kirin would know.
If Lord Gyoso were the king, you could have stayed with him.
You may still be able to catch up to him, Yoka. Stop it!
No, Taiki, you are not to go out at night!
Look at this. You've become a magnificent Kirin.
I swear never to desert my post before your throne. No, he isn't the king. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't. No. I swear never to disobey your orders, and I also swear to pledge my loyalty to... And I pledge my loyalty to you.
I accept.
Taiki was overwhelmed with sadness when he learned that Gyoso was leaving, and although he didn't see the Oki, he pledged his loyalty to Gyoso regardless. Taiki thought he had falsely chosen a king. Tormented by guilt, he returned to his kingdom with the new king of Tai.
Tell me what's the matter, Taiki.
I did something that I'm very afraid can never be undone. I didn't receive the revelation when I chose Lord Gyoso to be king.
There was no revelation at all?
There was no sign or anything like that. And I didn't see the Oki around him either.
When Keiki told me that Taiki thought he had falsely chosen a king, we decided to put on a little show. And frankly, I wanted to meet him since he was also a taika. You see, we thought he wouldn't believe us if we just told him the truth.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
What's the problem? Does the Kirin of Tai have some sort of grievance with the Kingdom of En?
No, not at all.
Taiki, why are you doing this?
I see. It seems he does have something personal against the Kingdom of En.
Taiki!
What's the matter? Can't you even pretend to show a little respect? All you have to do is bow down and lower your head a little.
Cut it out! He's still just a kid. You don't have to take it this far. Don't worry, Taiki. Are you all right? Taiki just couldn't bow to King En. It was not because King En was unworthy, but because of the Kirin's own nature. A Kirin can only bow to their masters, and no one else. Taiki had indeed sensed the Oki with Gyoso, but he had confused it with fear. Taiki was able to bow to and swear his loyalty to Gyoso, only because Gyoso was indeed the king of Tai. From that time on, I would often hang out with Taiki. I called him Kid. And the coronation proceeded without any problem. But there is no king or Kirin in Tai right now. Messengers from Tai visited the other kingdoms a couple of years ago. According to them, King Tai and Taiki died within a year of the enthronement. But if Taiki were really dead, Tai's new Ranko would have started growing on Mount Ho, and that hasn't happened. Besides, when a ruler dies, a bird called Hakuchi cries, and then another bird, called Ho, reports it to each kingdom. And that didn't happen either. I thought Taiki and Gyoso might be hiding and couldn't come out for some reason. Something was happening in Tai, so I started looking for Taiki. I didn't think Taiki was in Tai, so I looked for him in other kingdoms. If he wasn't in this world, then he might be in Horai, or at least that's what I thought. Then maybe I should go and check it out then.
Hey, what have you heard from Taiki?
I haven't had any contact. But I couldn't locate the house that Taiki once lived in Horai. So I tried to sense the Kirin's aura from Taiki. But somehow, I couldn't sense any Kirin anywhere in Horai. It was impossible for me to remember the house I had visited only once years before. And when I tried to push myself to find him, I was overwhelmed by unbelievable exhaustion. I don't know what happened to that happy kid. But I do believe that he will come back to Tai someday. Because he is a Kirin, after all.
I was scolded by Mr. Ikuda. He told me not to paint imaginary stuff. But this isn't imaginary. I don't know why, but when I paint it, I feel like I can almost remember.
Can't you just forget about it? You don't need to remember any of that stuff anymore. Just try and remember that you're in this world now.
But when I try to remember any of it, it brings me to a place that seems very familiar. And for some reason, I feel like I was very happy in that place. In fact, I miss it so much that I'm hurting inside. And I also feel like I'm forgetting to do something that was very important to someone. Like I broke a promise. And it's lost forever.
I know he is going to come back someday. But until then, I will keep looking for him.
He smiles and nods to the voice, even though he knows that the owner of the voice cannot see him. The bird says to him, I am the 12 Kingdoms, Episode 22, a message.